it up, yeah. Use it up, yeah. Use it up, yeah. Use it up, yeah.
Yeah. But neon out the mud. Before I get it out the mud, I stay on top of my fitness and hit the shower, clean it up, and then get back to the business. I don't care about who did it, I ain't worried who didn't. I head directly to the back, so I'll be there in a minute. I got expensive taste, the rollie got a different face. For surely I be in them places, they won't let you pass the gate. Post it up, sipping $1,000 scotches with the rock in it.
I gotta say, this Gasachusetts strain right here, this is taking me back. I like this.
A lot of people say it's like forum cookies.
What's
A
that?
lot of people say it's like forum cookies.
Forum cookies?
Yeah, there was a cut of cookies called Forum Cut,
Okay.
and it was much more like there was another thing people called it. It's escaping me now, but it was just a much more cushy cookies, much more gassy cookies.
But I like this. This is like earthy. You know, I don't know, maybe some
Totally.
like piney.
To
like,
me, I mostly pick up on the earth, mint, leather, wood, and then when it's fresh and it still has the leaves on it, it has a lot of gas. There's still gas when you break it up,
Yeah,
too,
you got
for
the
sure.
gas, too.
There's still gas in there, too. And the gas stays for a long time. Most gas strains lose it really fast, like real similar to the actual thing of gasoline itself, where it wants to continue to evaporate in the air. Gas strains also just want to evaporate in the air and go away and turn into whatever they are secondarily.
like there's no candy here, no fruit. This is away from that.
So
Totally.
what are you growing this in?
And cocoa,
Cocoa?
little 1 gallon cocoa pots, a hand water.
This is the strain right here?
You hand water cocoa
Yeah.
plants?
Yeah, not on purpose.
Out of necessity?
Yeah, well, I'm not a good carpenter, and I'm not a good engineer or designer of things.
Wow, this tastes very earthy.
I'm a C student, so
C student at some things.
oh, but I'm a genius too. So but I can't get myself to pin down too hard to anything because I have a lot on my mind. So I don't want to see anything through to complete perfection. And when I designed my own irrigation system over and over and over, it just had so many imperfections that I'd get air in the lines, and I would think I could rely on it, and I couldn't. And I was like, well, fuck this. If I can't rely on you, then I can't rely on you. Hand watering.
Yeah. I can't. Too much on the line here. I
Totally,
can't.
way too
wreck
much
the
on the
batch.
line. And so there was a point where I just decided that I couldn't grow in soil anymore, and I had to be the LED Athena irrigation guy. And I did the LED and the Athena, and the irrigation just never worked out. So now at least I have trays that could be vacked in some sort of effective way besides me vacuuming it with a shot vac, but they aren't. They're shot vacked and they're hand watered, but at least they're big, huge trays, and at least it's LED.
Right. We're on episode 28, the How You Doing show. Rob's back. Rob's had a little break.
Yeah,
My boy is back.
Well,
Ricky?
I had a little sick. I had cancer. I've been going through treatment, and things are going in the right direction. Let's hopefully, I'm still here next year.
Yeah, you are. Stop
it.
that.
It's
And-
pretty rough.
Ricky, and we got Conchiss.
How you doing?
Brandon.
Brandon Conchiss.
Yeah, I like being called conscious.
Conchiss
Most people call me conscious. So,
is the go-to. Right.
That's a very tasty strain. It's very earthy. I like it.
thank you.
Very good job.
It's very much geared for people our age and up, or my age and up. People who really want gas and who want earth and want funk. And then a lot of people who are thinking about what's going to happen after candy appreciate it too. but people who are still very much focused on candy pass it over for other strains. that I
No
have.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I entered this in Nikan, and it was passed over, and
Didn't even get on the 5 place.
didn't even get within the first 5 places, which is surprising
shame.
to me, which is fine though. But I hung out with Doja a couple weeks ago prior to the cup, and I showed him the candy strains that I was going to enter, and I showed him all my strains for that matter, and he was just like, dude, please, you're a tastemaker, I'm a tastemaker. Do not enter what you think is going to win. Enter what you want to win. Don't enter it to win. Enter what you like and keep entering it in different cups, different settings until it wins. Or don't do cups at all. I've never won a cup, and I'm Doja. Everyone sweats me.
No shit. He never did
No.
any of that PR stunt.
No.
Winning the cups, the entry.
No, where should I ask?
Do you think he didn't make it because of not because of the quality, but because of the taste?
He's on it.
And
No,
the people
it's-
up there were looking for like a taste or
Well,
because sometimes it comes
Cups,
down to the judges, right? If they like to only smoke
Cups-
certain brands.
cups. It's hard to
Strains.
say. You don't know how big the judges, or how big the cast of the judges are, and then it's endocannabinoid specific. I mean, like, not everything is people's absolute fancy. It's not totally about quality. It's about like what your body is set to. And if I really wanted to do better, I would have entered more entries. I would have entered the sativa. I would have entered the hybrid, and I would have entered the indica. I keep myself in a weird financial place while I get my cooperative off the ground, and
What did you only enter
I
one?
only did the one entry. So
And that
yeah.
was
and that was the Gasachusetts.
the Gasachusetts.
Yeah.
So you went with your gut on that after talking to Doja.
Yeah,
You went with what
I
you
was just like, you're right. I should just do it so that hopefully what I think is important gains more exposure. Because this is what I want people smoking more of. I think that you, me, everyone would be better having access to Gasachusetts over candy.
Yes. This is more of a
That's an old school flavor right there.
yeah.
I get a real level of wellness off that like it just it suits me. It feels
Very
like food.
smooth.
You ain't
Yeah,
seen
and
something like this in the commercial marketplace in a
No.
little
No
while.
way.
No, totally. And then that too, everything I breed is in the knowledge of that eventually my license would work out, and eventually I would get a facility, and eventually I would get my strains onto the market.
Because you have a co-op license, right?
Yeah.
Does
What-
that how does that actually work with a co-op license? What is that? What are your restrictions, and what can you do with it?
What is a co-op license?
So
How about that?
a craft
Well, you got
cooperative
an
a craft
accordion?
cooperative license is unique to Massachusetts, and it's a very underutilized license, so you don't hear a whole lot about it, and it has a multitude of strict requirements that are meant specifically to keep MSOs and keep money-oriented people unattracted to it and unable to even use it at all.
Was one of the stipulations in this you had to have like a farm, like a regular
Yeah.
farm prior?
Yeah. You got to have someone on the board of directors who ran a farm
Okay.
and had big contracts and knows how to satisfy big contracts with produce. So that there is both that skill set on hand, and also hopefully it's helping the disenfranchised basic farming industry that Massachusetts hasn't supported so well for one reason or another. And that
Unless
they
you're doing
can-
cranberries out here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. So anyhow, so a craft cooperative license has to be owned by a board of directors. Can't be owned by one individual, even though I'm very much the individual who would be the owner of it. I'm the executive director, CEO, founder, head of the board, but it has to be owned by a board of directors, which keeps the ownership diffuse and keeps everything very democratic. So, and one of those board of directors has to be a farmer and has to show it through his old or her old Schedule F tax forms.
Okay.
And everyone involved in it has to be from the state of Massachusetts. So all the profits are most likely staying in the state of Massachusetts. No one can have a stake in any other marijuana enterprise. No one can be from out of state unless they've moved here just for this.
But it's sole, unlike the other ones where you can own, a little piece of each
lot
as
of
long as it's less than
stipulations.
10%.
This
This is You can only own
mostly
this
the
license.
stipulations are in this diffuse ownership structure, and that it doesn't really in its necessity to be shared, and that it has open membership. So after I establish this board of directors and the license and a address that allows me to have the license, I'm then supposed to open it up to other people. It doesn't say how many other people. I'm supposed to do it with at least 3 people or more.
And this is just for cultivation, or do you got manufacturing underneath this umbrella
and
license?
As a craft cooperative, I can do everything. I can open a storefront. I can do manufacturing. I can do delivery to
Is that retail?
Yeah, I can do what I can do 1 retail location.
Really?
I can do 3 manufacturing locations. I can do as many cultivation locations as I want throughout the state, up to 100,000 square feet of total canopy. I can do delivery. And then most excitingly, which I wanted to look up before I came to the interview, but I didn't, we can do something tantamount to social consumption pop-up events, where we can have events that we sponsor, like concerts, where we are the cannabis provider at the concert. And
Oh yeah, this is what you were saying. They keep on adding.
Yeah,
it didn't
because-
just start out with all these
no. So they keep adding all these things to sweeten it
caveats.
because it's such an underutilized license category.
Now, does it cost the same as all the other licenses, or no?
Does it?
To get started? Because you got guys with millions of dollars to get started.
It does. Yeah, in effect, it does. Yeah, to manipulate it properly, yes, of course. Yeah, no, I'm just thinking of like the yearly renewal fee in comparison to others. It's probably similar to anyone else's tier 1 annual renewal fee, and like all the application fees and such are probably the same. But if you know anything about it, those aren't the costs. Yeah. The costs come in effectively assembling the application itself, because the application itself is full of cans of worms that, once opened, have lots of engineers and notarizers and lawyers and officials that have their own timetables and costs associated with them needed.
It's all the compliance stuff.
Totally. So like, so just getting the licenses assembled correctly and everything is supposed to be expensive unless you're intelligent and have time.
How long did it take you to get the license?
It took me. So I did all of this by myself.
So you learned as you went?
Learned as I went, and it wasn't that hard, really. It only became hard. So to answer your question quickly, it took me about 3 years before I started having members come aboard. And it's been 8 years in total now.
8 years?
Yeah.
Damn.
Since this idea
Yeah, I filed.
started.
So I filed the LLC in 2019, and I had started the license in like 2016, 17.
17. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, 2016 for sure. I was dabbling in it. I was telling people that's what I was doing. I was lightly seeking investors, but it wasn't the co-op yet. I was still just trying to get investors for a regular tier 1 grow.
Regular tier 1 grow.
Yeah, that's
Micro?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's really all I ever wanted. So my mission statement for the co-op in general is that all I ever wanted to be was a teeny little cultivation company, and no one would support me in it.
You're not trying to get big corporate America. You're going to keep it small.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Yeah.
how did you first get into this? With the growing and the crossbreeding, and how did you learn about it? Did you trial by error? Did you have a teacher?
Rob jumps right in there.
I've been growing in and out, not for profit and not for like sustenance, since I was a teenager, since I was like 14. And then I was around it a lot in my 20s and 30s, being in Vancouver and being in Humboldt and being in Colorado and New Mexico. And I put myself around it a lot, but I was always very 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like I was just people's like garden watcher, assistant. I would do things for them, but like I never really climbed the ladder because I was really doing my college degree while doing that. And like I didn't want to climb the ladder then, because climbing the ladder in the 90s and the 2000s didn't mean a fancy professional career that my
Wasn't a golden ladder.
No, yeah, it wasn't a golden ladder. Like
Still highly illegal.
it was still very much illegal. It was like very much organized crime still back then, and then I would traffic a
Well, you could
little
make
and I
money.
would ship a little, but like never as much as I could have and should have with all the connections I had and the proximity I had to it all. I really wasn't sure what I was doing back then. I was rapping and doing my college and trying to be a professional snowboarder as much as I was.
You snowboard too.
Yeah.
He's a
This guy,
he's a shredder.
Yeah.
you've done a few things in life, jack of all trades, and
For a long time, I thought I wanted to be a professional healer too.
professional healer.
Yeah, I was going to open a healing practice, and I was just going to be people's guru.
Well,
What'd
those
you take up
crystals
in
really
college?
do work, believe it or not.
What'd you take up in college?
Biology. I went to UMass Amherst. Ultimately, that's where I
Of
finished.
course, you went to
But
Amherst.
I went to community colleges in California and in Bellingham, Washington.
How'd you like California?
It was whack.
Well, well,
To answer his question real quick, so I've been growing like I probably should have for a long time, for the last 8 years.
You've
That's
been
all
growing.
I've been doing. So I haven't had a regular job. I haven't had a regular job in like 10 years, really. So I've just been growing weed for the last 10 years.
Oh, that's not very easy either.
No, but it was good for a bit, and it really took the climate of everything changing. I never wanted to go to jail. I have been to jail for weed, but I never wanted to.
you got hemmed up.
Yeah,
You were in the cooler.
I've been growing for 8 years, like I should have, but I've been around it, observing it, and I've known a lot about it, way more than most since I was a teenager. But I was just observing it, not really being sure what I was gonna do with it. If you would have asked me 20 years ago, it would have been me being a rapper.
How old are you?
42.
Oh, you still got plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
I know. My music's catching on now that people care about my weeds. So, and
Isn't it
Conchiss
funny?
is my rap name.
What is
So-
it?
That's
Yeah, so that's where it comes from. Conchiss comes from, in the 90s, you were either like an aggressive sort of gangster, could be a commercial rapper type underground rapper, or you were a conscious rapper. You were a backpack rapper.
Oh, battle
Yeah.
rapper.
Yeah, a battle rapper could be either. A battle rapper was very often a conscious rapper too, but a conscious rapper,
is what rapping about the times.
So
and
do you-
stuff?
rapping poetically
play
and,
any
and using
instruments
big
too?
words and no, I'm pretty bad at drawing and instruments. Those are like the two art forms that I'm not very good at, but I try to do both. I try to draw. I like to cook and I like to design clothes.
I can draw stick
I like to-
figures. That's about it.
I could draw stuff enough to show someone else. Like I could show a tattoo artist what I want,
Right.
or I could show someone who's making an album cover for me what I want. They'll make it better.
Where'd you grow up? Did you grow up in Massachusetts? Born and raised?
I grew up a few places, but I was born in Phoenix,
Okay.
Arizona, and then by the time I got into grade school, I was living in Florence, Massachusetts, which is effectively Northampton, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And then I was there until middle school. And then in middle school, I started living with my dad in Storrs, Connecticut. And then right after I graduated high school, I moved out to Bellingham, Washington to be a part of the Vancouver, Canada scene.
The weed scene up there?
Yeah, and the snowboarding.
Okay.
Weed and snowboarding. I wanted to go wherever weed and snowboarding was best.
So you snowboard, you do like the half pipes, the rails, or you like backcountry snowboarding?
Rails.
Like,
At the time, and mostly rails, like park and rails and
Yep.
stuff. Because on the East Coast here, you can't really get very competitive on cliffs or big jumps.
Ice cookies.
Yeah, because it's so icy.
So you said you were in Colorado, right? There's some real snow there. Like,
Oh yeah. I lived in Washington, and I went to Whistler a lot when I lived out there, and then
what about snowboard and Alta in Utah? You been over there?
yeah. So that's
In Park City and all
I
that.
originally, when I first in high school started to think about where I wanted to move out west, I went on a trip to Utah thinking that Salt Lake City was the spot,
A lot of Mormons.
and they fucking
Rob does
as
rails
soon as I
too.
got off the
Just no
plane,
snowboard.
as soon as I got off the plane, I was turning heads in all the wrong ways.
Right?
Like
that you didn't fit.
no, I didn't fit at all.
No,
And
I get
I didn't
that.
fit at all, and it was so weird. I'd never had that happen to me before. I felt so like not
Out
wanted
of
there.
place. Did you notice
Yeah.
so too when you went out because you were a shredder here, and then when you went out west, and it was like a whole different world, man. You know, there's some airtime with the cliffs and the bowls and the back country and out of country. So are you a good snowboarder?
I'm good now. Well, I'm still good now, like at going fast and stuff, and I could do some alright jumps and shit. But
Well, as you get
I'm
older,
so
you know,
worried about getting hurt now, because like I don't want to hurt my body and not be able to make money for my kids. So
Oh, you have
like,
some kids?
yeah, I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, two
Good for
boys.
you. How's that? That
It's
good?
great. Yeah, it's great. It's hard to relax around them because they're fucking.
They got
crazy.
a lot of energy, do they?
Yeah, totally crazy. And my wife is very earthy, crunchy about us not letting them watch TV. So
That's not a bad idea.
that's a
Are you
very good
homeschooling
idea.
too?
No, but they go to a Chinese immersion school, which is a charter school. It's like an hour each way. They have to drive them. to
Really?
school.
Every
I have to
day,
drive
huh?
them to, yeah, yeah. So it's fancy.
You know what's crazy about that is you put your kid to a school you got to pay for, right?
Yeah,
Or any of those schools, and then you still got to pay for the local school. It's kind of crazy with that.
yeah. Our local schools are like fine, but not as impressive as other Massachusetts schools should be. The only school that's as impressive as schools are out here is this one.
Right?
Yeah, the one that they go
And
to.
what town do you live in?
I live in East Hampton.
Oh, that's up there.
It's close to the Connecticut River, just one mountain range into the Berkshires.
Beautiful area. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's super dope. You can see Mount Tom from everywhere.
Nothing like going out in like the mountain and disappearing for the day and going smoking up in the woods.
Yeah, yeah. Mount
probably
Tom,
do that a
Mount
lot.
Tom is like right
Doing a
next to
few
my
reels.
house, and you can climb it whenever you want.
So where do you see this the co-op thing going?
So the co-op is me and one other company right now. It originally was 8 companies, and a lot of
8?
a lot of them couldn't really handle the ride of the foundational period, which was very protracted.
Really?
And yeah, it was hard for me to completely tell everyone how long everything would take. And the concept of the co-op is that everyone buys member shares, 500 square feet of the total license canopy, and they own it. In effect, they buy it for $10,000 per 500 square feet, and they own this this transferable title that allows them to manipulate that space within one of my compliant buildings when they're ready, or when I'm ready as well. So they're liable for the build out, they're liable for the staffing, they're liable for the intellectual property, they're liable for an unforeseen number of costs and time on my end for creating the compliant structure in the building as a whole. So many of them couldn't complete their own independent fundraisers. Rightfully so. I could never complete a fundraiser.
A lot of them
either.
didn't listen to you, did they?
No, none listened. None
usually
listened
the
at all.
problem.
None
Because they
listened
probably
at all.
heard 10 grand to get in, and that's it, right?
Yeah, they think they know
right.
everything.
Yeah, right. They heard 10 grand to get
Yeah.
in, and they're like, that's it. I'm golden. Now I can start pitching to everybody I know, and they're gonna have to support this. I got this little piece of paper that says I own a little piece of a weed company, and I
Yeah.
told them, I was like, dude, pitching is impossible. I've been everywhere. I've been all over the country. I exhausted my personal sphere immediately. I always knew I was poor. I was never gonna let that stop me. I told everybody, I was like, look, like in all honesty, the only way that I know, and the only way that this model is really meant to help, is people that are thriving in the legacy market, and they're looking to bring their profits above board, and they're looking to buy a house, and they don't want to get their kids taken. So if you're not thriving in the legacy market, then you probably can't handle the competitive arena of the regulated market, and you probably also don't have your own personal cash flowing like that, like you need to, and it needs to come from cannabis.
And the compliance, like the fees that incur from making the building compliant and all the rules and the regs,
Yeah.
it gets costly.
10 grand got you in the door,
So-
and then it goes from there.
So I probably spent personally like 200 grand getting the license, and then everyone who pulled their money together gave me like another 300 grand in this old horrible building that I used for holding the license. Because when you create a cannabis license, the first thing you have to do is put down an address that you've taken off the market and that you have legal right to. And that usually a super expensive thing. They say it very nonchalantly, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, whatever.
first question, where's your building? And also, do you have legal title to the building? And that could be simple or that could be super expensive because most places want you to pay either a fraction of the rent or most of the rent for
Up front.
Yeah, or no, just monthly.
Why nothing's in there, right? 'Cause
Well,
they're losing the
nothing's in there
space.
because they're losing the space. You have to use it. They're losing the space, and it's going to be locked up in your licensing for who knows how long. If you have $1 million, then maybe only a year or two, and if you don't, years and years and years and years and years. The only way to make the cannabis process go faster is to hire more people to either like lobby on your behalf or just create very airtight paperwork very quickly.
Right.
And the only way that I ever knew, I don't know if I'm drifting from the question, but the only way that I ever knew to get the license done in the way that I could afford was to submit it incorrect and let them tell me why it was incorrect.
That was a smart move.
So I've submitted everything incorrect 2 and 3 times, and I let their RFIs, they call them, request for more information, clarify exactly what was wrong so I don't spend too much.
That was a good move, man.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty smart.
Yeah, 100%. Nobody does that because everyone has investors breathing
They
down
want it
their back.
right.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
one shot, and they want to roll.
They don't want to hear that it got rejected.
You made them explain themselves.
Yeah, nah, fuck
Yeah.
it. Send it in. Let them give you the.
They gave
the
me free
legal
consulting
fees.
in effect.
Trevor did that his
Free
whole life in
counseling.
school. Just
I
send
just
a
could
bunch
never
of
take
tests.
the test
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Did
So-
you do that with the
Even with the
intent?
wrong name on it, so you can copy that.
So where I see it going, I see it going super good or super fire. It took mad long, and the last 5 years that I was really freaking out, being like, when's this going to work? I want to be in the market now, have been super whack. Maybe the last year has been straight, but most of it has been super whack. It's been in constant decline. And like all the MSOs that caused
The
that
industry
decline.
in mass, you're saying?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
market.
Yeah, totally. So
The
like
numbers are way
e-
down.
everyone's so disparaged about it, and yeah, they are way down. But the product that it's down on, I think should be down. I mean,
Well,
like
it's all swag.
it's just all very mids, and it's all very old, and it's all very uncompetitive, and it's all very high yielding, and it's all very machine trimmed. So if you're gonna grow super high yielding strains that are very easy to grow and either require little to no trimming or are machine trimmed, then you should only be able to get so much for it. Your metrics
right,
say that you don't need a whole lot for your pounds.
It's
Well,
garbage.
well, that's the thing that that
Yeah.
it goes back to it. That why I think it's plummeting is, and then I compare it to something else is, a lot of these places are growing the same way, the same nutrients, the same strains, machine trim. So it'd be like going down like Route 44 if all the car dealerships were the same brand of cars, right? There wouldn't be 12 dealerships on Route 44.
You said it.
After a matter of time, there would probably only be one.
It's all about strains,
Yeah, it is.
really, like because
Who's ever selling the cars the cheapest, Ricky?
because like if other people had Gasachusetts, there'd only be a
What's their
very short
expenses?
window that I could charge what I needed to for the Gasachusetts before people started undercutting me and crashing it.
Of course. Just like
You
anything
know,
else.
So I'll never let anyone else grow any of my strains, and I'm always and if someone were to try to replicate my breeding process, I wouldn't be involved in the pheno hunting, so they wouldn't be able to. It wouldn't happen. It could never replicate my strains.
Are these your buds right here?
Yeah, that's a little pile of Gasachusetts there, and then I have all the
like
other
that.
strains.
Gasachusetts.
Yeah,
How'd you come up with that one?
I didn't come up with the name. I just bred the strain for the name. It's the only strain that I didn't come up with the name for, and I've heard it I've heard it used. This rapper DJ Lucas uses it a lot, and other people in his circles use it. And I used to always look it up online and be like, "Yo, what is Gasachusetts? What are the genetics in Gasachusetts? That strain is fire. I've only heard of Chemdog from Mass. I've only heard of Mass Super Skunk from Mass, and there are no genetics for it." And then the story is that it's just slang for good weed from Massachusetts. So then I was like, oh, well, fuck. I'm the best breeder in Massachusetts. I'm the one who's really getting the license. I'm the one who's wearing the fur coat. I'm the one who's rapping about it. I'm the one who's putting myself out here. I'm taking the Gasachusetts name and I'm breeding a strain for it because it's not anyone else's unless they bred a strain for it. So if you weed map mine, Google mine, whatever,
That
it's gonna say the lineage. And
Did you get copyrights to that name?
no,
boy's operating
copywriting a
in the
strain
gray
in
area
general
right now.
is loose.
We're talking about gray areas.
It would fall under my artistic intellectual property, maybe, but no.
It's
It's really hard to ask to copyright a strain, but all my strains are regional. I had the Cape Cod Taffy, I had the 91 North, I had the New England Apple, and I had the Gasachusetts, and well, the Anthrax is not regional.
Yeah. That's
but,
going postal.
Yeah, right.
That's going national.
When you go out and look for a strain, what are you looking for specifically
To breed with or to smoke?
to breed with?
To breed with, something that's very unique. So I look for strains that have like an infectious amount of one terp, but they're also like not right. Like
There's
they're-
something
they're-
wrong off.
There's something wrong with them overall. But damn, do they have a ton of category
So
D?
they have a certain amount of something, a lot of, and
A
then
lot
you
of
take it
one
with something
thing.
else and you try to
Yeah,
balance it
yeah,
out.
So it's almost like a business that's being run by a schmuck.
Yeah, totally right. Yeah,
That's a
damn,
good
They got a
analogy,
good business
Rick.
damn
plan
if
and
they
everything
aren't
else. They
doing
just
this
don't know
one
how to run a
thing really
business.
well. Yeah, right. And mixed with this,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Totally. So
That's a better analogy.
there's
Dylan.
that.
I got the analogy.
There's that.
wrong,
If
man.
I
Not you.
encounter a new strain that's very one thing, I don't know that I do that very much. I think most of it comes from my mind's eye and my travels, and I think about 2005 strains and 2008 strains that I encountered. 2005 when I was medical in Cali, and 2008 when I was medical in Colorado, and I just think about like, what if someone put Durban poison with Granddaddy Perps? What if someone put Afghani with strawberry cough? What if someone, like, and so I only think from those. I only think from
That's the angle.
yeah.
I get it.
I do not think about what would Super Boof be like with Gelato 33.
Right.
I do not. No. You know what I mean? Like, I do not think about any of the last 10 years strains. I might think about what would Thin Mint cookies be like with things, but everyone's thinking like that right now.
What do you?
There's tons of new ones.
Okay, so when you cross these plants, right? You obviously got to make some seeds, right? What is the time frame? Pretty much just like when you run the, you pollinate it and you get seeds right away. Do you do it the first wave on the seeds, or you do another wave of it to get a different potency or a different strain?
And do you do it naturally, or you usually back cross things and get pollen, reverse?
I actually,
the plant?
I've never done a reversal.
Okay.
I should, especially now that I have kind of like a stable of known strains. I probably should start reversing them to things that other people like. Like, I've thought about reversing the Gasachusetts to Gorilla Glue.
I love Gorilla
because
Glue.
I bred the Gasachusetts for one to fit the name Gasachusetts. So when I chose the parents for it, I chose
The parents.
the LA Beatnik I'd been running for a long time, was very quintessential Kush mints, but also a little more OG Kush, but very Kush mints. And then I knew that the Oishi that I was choosing had Hollywood Kush and had Dosey Does in its lineage, but many people were using it for the Skittles and for, I forget what else that was in it, Moonbow and other things that people like. So I knew that if I combined them and I hunted thorough enough, made enough seeds, I would find something that took my Thin Mint, or that took my Kush mints from the LA Beatnik and put it with the Dosey Does and the Pure Kush, and would create something that was fitting for going in the Gorilla Glue, Chem Dog, OG Kush kind of category, and was also fitting of the name Gasachusetts.
I love it. It's
And something that holds the gas smell too. Like I said, it's really hard to have. Like, this is 2 months old. It's really hard to have something be not fresh and still gas.
No, I like it. It's
Gas
like
discipline.
2 months
earthy,
old, piney,
Yeah.
gassy.
that
I
was
like
pretty
it.
good. That's
Yeah. I
really
like it.
good.
I kept the leaves on for a long time. I kept the leaves on up until
Definitely
just
know
like
what
2
you're
weeks
doing.
ago.
We do appreciate good weed over here.
Yeah.
So,
the first time I smoked it and smelled it, I was like, man, this takes me back to like 05, like earthy, piney, gassy, like fucking.
yeah,
That's what I like.
yeah, totally. Yeah, me
and
too.
it just took me back. It's something different. But you submitted that, and it didn't tickle the palates of the judges. You know what I mean?
It's fine. I'm an egomaniac. I don't need to have my vanity perpetuated at every avenue.
Oh, with that fur coat, ain't nobody telling you anything different.
Yeah, like everybody's just chasing the hype, and they're just smoking what they're told. You know, pretty much that to the masses. You know, like anything else.
You didn't smoke the Cape Cod Taffy, and that one's like all flavor. When I sell it in New York City, I call it Flavor King because it's all flavor. And I think that a lot of people right now, especially the spray pack people, of course, are smoking for flavor, and they're not wrong. If you're already high and you're not seeking a medical effect, then flavor is where it's at. And flavor is where it's at in general, per se, maybe.
I'm all about the flavor. I don't think I really get too high anymore.
Yeah, right. Weed isn't smoking weed isn't how I got high either. Edibles are how I got high.
Fucking roasted over here.
But yeah, so I think people are really choosing for flavor a lot, and they're not really choosing to get high so much. And in that regard, candy's mad flavorful.
Maybe I'm smoking for the wrong reason. I only smoke weed to get high. You know what I mean? But I do appreciate the different flavors, and I really like the earthiness. Have you ever tried growing in what are the different processes in growing? And have you tried the natural dirt? Have you tried the different processes?
I used to grow in soil, but not any of these strains. And I don't know that my weed is any better in cocoa compared to soil, but one thing that I appreciate about it big time is how fast everything moves.
The growth rate?
The growth rate and your ability to correct imbalances and for imbalances to show.
Oh, it helps quicker?
It's 4 times faster. Since it wants to drink 4 times a day instead of every other day, if there's an issue with the plant and you can visually detect it,
you can figure it out quick.
Correct it in like 2 or 3 feedings. Yeah, 2 or 3 waterings.
Right.
You can flush it one water and then figure out what's wrong in your batch tank. Is it a pH? Is it
How
something?
long are you flushing the plants for on the end?
Only 2 days.
2 days?
Only like 8 waterings. The problem with when you flush cocoa is that the plant like really knows it because there's no remnant stuff in the cocoa. So it kind of stops drinking and it might rot on you if you continue to flush. So you really just want to feed it light with water for 2 days.
That's what you do.
Give it 1 flush and then just feed it light. So it's like, what's going on? But
you almost think it knows what it's going to get if it keeps going. You know what I mean?
it knows that the nutrients are gone.
Right.
It's not like overly psyched about it, and it's starting to not drink.
Getting a little droopy.
How'd you learn about all this? Trial and error, like Rob said earlier, or did you have like a really good mentor, or was it just kind of just paying attention to what everybody's doing?
I was around it a lot as trimmers, like in really good places. So I got to see it in many different styles from people that were good at it in Vancouver, and like these big, huge automated hands-off Hell's Angels grows, and then in Humboldt was very hands-on.
Humboldt County
grows, and in Lake Tahoe and in Colorado, and I would observe them a bit, but I don't think I grow like any of them at all.
So you are a good grower.
So I'm a good grower.
So you're
that,
clairvoyant.
Yeah, I'm very clairvoyant. So like it's easy for me, but so many growers dial it in so much better. Like the grower that I'll be working with next in this next facility is so dialed in, and I'm so intuitional, so just whatever, that the combination of us together is going to be like really, really potent.
So you get a little autism or something like that in you?
Do I? Maybe. You know, it's weird. I only know from
not
like
a bad thing. I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Like special.
I'm totally a savant, but I would only guess.
Ricky takes somebody who's being smart as autism.
No, I'm not saying that. No, not smart. It has nothing to do with smart. It has nothing to do with smart. He has these different intuitions than everybody else.
It's a combination of things. I would only know kind of like through my son. My son gets new school testings where they like really care about that kind of stuff, and they want to mildly label him a little bit, not as autistic, but like ADHD and just like learning deficient and And I look at them and the way that they're addressing him, and I wonder, I'm like, well, what would you think about me if I was under the microscope in these new ways that you look at kids? Because, like, I'm the best. So what would you have said about me at that age? And, like, how would you have either inaccurately or accurately predicted my trajectory?
Oh yeah,
Because
Right.
I don't
But I
like the
think a lot of
labels.
people-
I don't like the labels
medications.
you're putting on my son, and I wonder if those labels would have been put on me and how that would have affected me.
Well, you just said it.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to label somebody for something, right? Just because somebody might take a little longer to learn something. I mean, look at Trevor. You know what I mean? He probably did first and second grade a bunch of times. You know what I mean? And then finally got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he started a little earlier.
Hey,
than
I was on
everybody
the
else's.
short
Who
bus.
knows?
Leave me alone.
Trevor was driving to school in the 8th grade.
What came first, the music or the weed? Did it go hand
weed.
in hand in your
Weed for
journey?
sure, but like not weed as what? No, yeah, weed. Weed defined me earlier than music did, and then weed always continued to be my defining characteristic. And I would rap about it a lot. I'd always rap about how people like me for weed better than my music. What's that about? Me. And my music is not as good as my weed, especially now that I breed.
That's taken over.
Where can people listen to
Yeah.
it?
My music, all streaming platforms. Conchiss. Conchiss.
So you like any of the old rap, like Grandmaster Flash? You know, back in the day, New York beats on the street. I mean,
I could appreciate it, but it's too old.
I like the old school.
I mean,
stuff.
I appreciate it for sure, I guess, for sure. But like anything
old
older
bastard.
than like Rakim, it's
Yeah.
hard for me to hear where new rap came from. Like, you know, like when I hear like compound syllables with Rakim and stuff, I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah, that's still what rap is about. But and of course, I appreciate the storytelling of rap in that era because it was really easy to follow.
Yeah, you could actually
less
understand what they're
complex.
saying.
Yeah, you'll be able to understand what I say
I
really well
gotta
too.
check this music out. What forums can I find? What's the easiest one I can find this on? Spotify,
Spotify, Pandora,
and
Apple Music, whatever.
You call it Coop License is the rap name?
No, Conchiss is my rap name.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Cooperative license, Rob. Is this?
I'm just kidding. I thought that was funny.
Rob's a little rusty. He missed a few shows.
So when did you get into the hip hop? How did the hip hop rapping come involved? Like, what were you just chilling with some boys one day? Or
So I
you
always
get high?
I
Somebody
went
walked into a studio, tried selling you a fur coat. Like,
when I realized that I wasn't doing well becoming a pro snowboarder in Washington because just doing rails out there and not dropping cliffs and not doing road gaps and not really being willing to give it your fucking all was meaning that I wasn't going to get sponsored like my friends were, and I was filming a lot instead of being in the videos a lot. And while I would film back then, I remember now, because back then it was really hard. You could edit music into your videos, or you could just have headphones playing music wrapped around your camcorder while you were shooting, and the music would get in the footage like that.
okay.
So I was hearing the music, I was hearing the beats while filming shit over and over and over. So the music is in my hands, and I'm filming my friends over and over and over. Try it again. So eventually I started just like rapping over the beats out of boredom, and it got into the videos.
That's kind of cool.
And people heard it in the credits, and they heard me rapping over the instrumentals, and they're like, yo, who's that? That's good. I like that. That's good. And I was like, oh, really? Well, I wasn't good enough to actually get in the video,
Right.
but I was rapping in the video, and you like
you
that?
could back sound.
So you like that? All right, cool. I'm not on the East Coast anymore, where everyone's so great at rapping. I'm out in Washington at this point, and the bar was lower, and I was already doing slam poetry battles and stuff, and I was always in creative writing classes in college and doing that to keep my GPA up. So I've always been a real good, just regular writer. And then when people liked me for that, I was like, all right, well, fuck. No one likes my snowboarding. The weed stuff I'm doing is just bringing little bits across the border over and over. I'm not really like climbing the ladder like that. And, yeah, so weed or so rap.
Yeah, you start getting
So
big
then-
at that time. You know, coming over the border, you're talking a
Just
pretty
little
good
teeny,
charge.
just
you know
teeny.
what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
If you move up.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. So I used to bring weed across the border, an ounce in my underwear, like every other day, because they couldn't touch you. They could search your car
right.
to to the 20th degree. They'd take your panels off. They'd fucking take your seats out. They'd bounce your tires. Take your tires off. Bounce them. Like, everything. They'd go crazy. But they couldn't touch you unless they found something.
So you loaded up.
And just an ounce. So just an ounce. And a Canadian ounce always weighed like 40 grams instead of 28 grams. But most importantly,
You must have lived real close to the border.
really, really close. So Bellingham, Washington was about 20 minutes from the border, and Vancouver was only another half hour from there. So you were pretty much in the Vancouver area as soon as you got across the border. And then I started meeting people real quick up there snowboarding and finding a lot of friends that could show me and teach me about weed. And they always wanted me to bring way more weed. They were very unsatisfied with me only bringing an ounce. But it was, but they were cool with it. And when I first moved to Washington, weed was so not what you would have thought. It's just like not like Colorado, not like California. It was like there was good weed, but it was $3.50 an ounce, and there was like only a few strains. And they were grown in people's basements in town.
What year was this?
2001, and weed was just not impressive. I was like, yo, I'm on the West Coast right now.
You're like 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, I moved out there literally the day after I graduated high school. And
they didn't say nothing about you going back and forth over the border every day?
No, I told them I had a girlfriend. I told them I had a girlfriend.
You're going up there?
Because it's not that weird, because like...
People drive to work all the time.
Yeah, people work on both sides of the border.
Same thing.
Oh, so you'd hang out there for a little bit.
Stay for a bit.
Yeah, you weren't like the seedy guy coming over the border with the mustache. You know what I'm saying?
And yeah, they did have a lot of questions, but at the same time, the scale's so low. I mean, like, what they would ask me a lot of times. They'd be like, dude, what do you even have on you? What could possibly be worth it? I was like, nothing, dickhead. Seeing a girl and getting laid, that's worth it. Like, fuck, like, why is this so weird to you? Why have I been in here for 3 hours inside the building?
Oh, they yanked in there
3 hours.
all the time.
So they knew.
And then that in and of itself kind of turned me on, like the can you handle the pressure? Can you handle them grilling you kind of shit? Like, are you slick enough?
Yeah. Comes a game.
Yeah, after a while, it must have became very easy.
Yeah. And then now I've done much harder shit.
Well, you get desensitized.
You get desensitized to it, and you like it. It's a cat and mouse game. Yeah, you like it.
You like being that guy that shows up and then you get a bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah,
Good thing you had that fur coat back then. Then they really been pulling your ass off.
Yeah, they would have shot you right down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you ever have any success with the rapping at all?
No.
You enjoyed it?
I never really understood how professionally you have to take it, because now that I've given this weed business my all, and I've seen what it's like to thoroughly devote yourself to putting yourself out there and organizing yourself and creating a business plan and really just like seeing through every single marketing potential, every single exposure potential, every single, like, just like being the guy that always shows up. I didn't show up in music like I show up for my weed company.
You didn't show up in the snowboarding either.
And I didn't show up in snowboarding like that either. No way.
So now the weed you're showing
now
up.
the weed. So now I've seen the weed through. I've seen
on the scene.
Yeah.
Little
so now,
education.
Yeah,
But it
totally.
seems like you like a lot of things, but you like show up for what you really like.
Yeah.
Obviously it's sweet.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your bling, right? Because sometimes rappers get like their chains. It's because they got an album, because they got something else. Every piece of jewelry to them means something, right?
Yeah.
So
is
it the same with you?
Ricky's intrigued by the bling.
So
It's like fucking
there's
hissing
two
my eye though.
rappers do it when they get promo money for an album. So when they get a record deal and they get money and they're supposed to promote themselves, they buy jewelry for that reason. And then hustlers buy jewelry to commemorate how scary it was to make the money. So every time I get through something scary, I buy jewelry when I can, assuming that the money was generated off doing something that was scary.
You mean like a new business venture?
I wish. I wanted to buy something to commemorate me getting this off the ground so bad. And then yes, along the way, when I still had more money to play with, during the foundational stages of this, I used to treat myself with a carrot on a string. And every time I get something done, like I got the provisional license, I got the lease for the building, I got whatever, I would buy myself something. Yeah, I haven't bought myself anything in a bit. Jewelry's addictive. Jewelry is like a drug. Worse. More. It's like, since I've been sober for 9 years.
What was your drink?
Whiskey.
Good whiskey?
Good whiskey. Not always, but yeah, good whiskey.
What made you say enough's enough?
It's weird. I have a lot of insight into it now that I've been sober for so long, and I can remember why it all went down the way it did, and I come from a long line of alcoholics that never got sober. Everyone in my family tree is an alcoholic.
Every one of them?
Every single person. Every single one of them.
That sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun. And my family always did a really bad job of telling me anything about like our family. So I didn't even know I was Irish stereotypically enough. So now that I say that and I know I'm Irish after 21 and me, or
Imagine that.
You want to have a drink?
like what? Yeah, imagine that, right?
You didn't drink all day, did you?
Oh yes, I drank all day.
All day?
All day, yeah, morning till night. all
Wow,
day.
it must have been a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
whiskey?
no, at a
what
certain level,
what
it
was your
was
go-to
fun.
whiskey?
Jim Beam, because it was fine enough.
Oh, you were getting it done?
Because I had to drink a bottle a day, so it couldn't always
whole
be
bottle?
Blanton's. Yeah.
Like a liter?
Yeah, 750. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're getting after it.
No, it was a morning till night
It
thing.
was nothing.
So
It
I
was
was never
nothing to you, was
never
it?
getting after it.
You didn't really get drunk, you just maintained it?
No, I didn't really get drunk.
Did you get up in the middle of the night and drink?
Yes. Yeah.
So how did you feel when you quit? Were you sick?
Oh, you would
yeah.
probably take
Yeah, it
it
was
out.
very
For
dangerous.
like months,
It was
right?
no, you're not sick for months. You're just sick for 72 hours. And it can be a very dangerous 72 hours.
So you were like hardcore. You had to like the shakes and all that, and the pink
Yeah.
elephants. And
Yeah, dude,
anyhow,
a bottle of whiskey a day? Hell yeah.
Everyone in my family was an alcoholic. And
What were you on tour or something, drinking like this?
no,
or-
so during college, things got like really rocky. It was really hard for me to complete college, and my dad and other people, well, mostly my dad, was really pulling on me, trying to take my college money, trying to disrupt my
the momentum.
my momentum with his drunkenness. He's in and out of rehab. He still tries to do that very effectively.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, and trying to tear me down still. But anyhow,
You don't have the best relationship with your father, it sounds like.
no, it's fine. It's whatever.
My father
It
caught
could
me
be so
every
much
day
worse.
drinking.
It could be so much worse. It's fine. It's light.
Yeah, Rob's old man.
It's light. He never like hit me or anything. It's light. It's not a big deal.
Rob glued the top of the bottle shut on him when he was staying with him.
Yeah, he came up and stayed with me for 3 weeks. And he's 84 years old. What he does is he gets up, turns on Fox, opens the bottle. So I was like, Pa, you got to stop with this boozing. So I super
let
glued
him
the
go,
cap
dude.
to his booze bottle closed. You
I
should
let
have
mine
seen him
go.
trying to get it off. So when you quit drinking, did your life immediately get better?
Oh yeah. So, so I dove in to stay brave and to keep chasing my dreams and move around the country. And I also dove in to get like really hard into it and get sober on my own without going to rehab. So for a long time, it made moving around the country recklessly and convincing my wife to move with me and drop everything and just
She
like
stayed with you the whole time?
yeah.
Lucky.
I've been with my wife
Wow, that's
for
a
21
keeper.
years.
You're really lucky.
Yeah, totally.
Did she say one day enough's enough of this shit?
Yeah, she only when she knew that that there was a crack in the armor and there was a chance for her to convince me, and I was already going that way. But no, she wrote it. She wrote through it with me. It's not like she enabled me or anything, but she
That's
wrote through
quite
it.
a woman right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. So that has a lot to do with my ability to do everything. Is that like I'm not just like a dude. I do have a wife and I do have kids and I do have like
More than
structure
that.
and discipline and I have a foundation and I have a reason. But so I wanted to go really hard, and then when I got sober, I wanted to do it on my own, and I did. And I had
Do you have any relapses?
I had no, but oh yeah, so I did try to get sober a few times, and realized how dangerous it was and how hard it was, and I was like, because I never wanted to go to rehab, and I was like, oh man, like shit, I didn't realize I was like physically addicted, like that sucks. And then when I finally did it, it was because my friend had started a weed company out in Washington, and I dropped everything. I had been sober for a few years here, and I dropped everything to go be a part of that weed company. And he didn't really know that I started drinking again. He thought I was still sober, and he was like, "Yeah, come out here. I need all the help I can get. I got this license. You can breed for me. You can be the genetics guy. You can whatever." And I'm coming. And he thought I was going to bring my wife and be stable when I got there.
They weren't. Was that the opposite of the situation?
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah.
You rocked, didn't you?
Yeah, so my wife didn't want to come, and it took me like 3 months to get there instead of
3 months.
What the fuck happened here?
He's drinking.
Was this when the arrest happened?
this pills and drinking. Because at this point, every time I tried to get sober, the doctors would prescribe me new pills.
Oh boy,
And
those
they'd be like, "All right, well, if we put you on Valium, I think it'll make it easier for you to stay sober." And Valium's just like whiskey.
Is it?
And yeah, it's racy and it's fun and it's fucking
Really?
awesome. Yeah, and it kills your
They didn't know what
inhibitions.
they had on their hands
And then they were like, "Well, all right, the Valium isn't working so well, but we'll keep you on it. Let's try Adderall."
Uh-oh.
And I was like, "All right,
Cocaine.
bet. Let's try Adderall."
Oh,
And then they're like,
poor man's coca.
and then mixing the Adderall with it, I was just like, all right, this is. And so I was sober on Valium and Adderall for a while, kind of sober, kind of.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if you can consider that.
Yeah, right. I was about to supposedly.
Yeah, and energy drinks and whatever.
Yeah, but you were out in the West. You must have found some crystal meth.
I didn't need it. The Adderall was enough.
Jesus Christ, dude.
But I'll tell you. So I hopped in my
Jesus.
car, and I had a consulting company at this point. I used to test for asbestos, and I had a consulting company surrounding it, just like doing air quality tests
Okay.
and removal plans for asbestos. Because when you graduate with biology or science degree for that matter, you don't just like have dope job placement like you think. You have to do
You'll start from the bottom.
dumb shit. Yeah,
It's like everything.
yeah, and like hazardous waste is way more prevalent than like fucking zoo curator jobs or like oceanographer jobs or like anything you think you're going to go to school for. Like I wanted to work at a zoo or be an oceanographer or something. I didn't want to test for asbestos.
Right.
You did remediation.
Yeah.
Wet it down, take it off. Basically.
I did eventually. I've jumped on both sides of the fence. I did work in taking it down too, but mostly I just tested for it and like sat around while other people did it. So anyhow, threw all that to the wind, took all my pills and my booze in the car and everything,
and took off.
and like no money, and just took off and just crashed with my friends along the way and showed up a different person than they ever saw before.
So you're
Was there
saying
some
you're saying you were a
interesting-
mess. You were a mess.
Was there any
mess.
incidents that stood out on this trip? On this
A lot of
journey?
people confused me for a crystal meth addict
There it is.
because it was just a lot of Adderall.
There it is.
Oh,
Rob
see, you
wasn't
had a
fine.
lot of energy. I understand this.
And
I understand.
and I used as soon as I got far enough west to get in the casino zones, I used my mystic juju to win in casinos. $500 here, $500 there, and that sustained me. And I'm no good at gambling. I just knew that if I
Your
went
wizardry?
I just knew I could.
You knew the move.
Yeah. And
You
then
gotta have that
and then I
move.
got to Las Vegas and crashed with my buddy for a bit, and then
Party
he
in the
kicked me
clubs.
out totally.
They stay open late in Vegas.
That's not a good spot to get sober. That's for damn sure.
Eventually,
Oh
what
my
really took me
God.
so long was that
This
I
guy
know-
must have been like, did he tell you to turn around and get back in your car when you
Yeah,
showed
right.
up?
no, because my buddy in Vegas was actually a recovered crystal meth addict himself from like his teenage years. Like, and he's like, dude, you are bringing me back right now. Like, I can't.
Listen,
tell
he
you.
recovered in
have a hit of that.
L.A.
So
Jesus Christ, that guy's a fucking
Vegas.
unicorn.
So from there,
That's what I said.
So from
LA?
there,
Oh, my bad.
so from there,
LV.
I tried to go stay with my aunt in L.A. and she wouldn't have
Cut that
me,
out, Rob.
and I still haven't forgave her for that.
He cried.
And I went to Humboldt right
Oh,
before
my
winter
God.
started, and I had a friend I could stay with there and I could trim with, and I was like, awesome, I'll make like $200 a day trimming. I'll stay for like a couple weeks, but my whiskey and cigarette and energy drink
overtook
and
everything.
then there was a lot of Coke there, so I was buying Coke every day, and it's just like, damn, I'm spending $200.
Rob, come
Conchiss,
on,
you went on it.
I'm making $200 a day, but I'm spending $200 a day. So I was
not getting
on it,
anywhere.
and then I got
Yeah, but
snowed
not
in.
with Jim Beam.
And then I got snowed in, and whiskey was way more expensive in the mountains. So those were like $40 bottles that should be $18 bottles.
One a day.
Yeah, one a day.
That adds up.
So I ended up
you're
being there
bringing
for
even.
like 2 months, and
lot-
then I got snowed in.
A lot of
And-
expenses to keep this
Snowed
monster
in.
Yeah,
going.
a lot of expenses. Dude, the funniest thing is the poorest
A
people.
lot of gas.
The poorest people have the most expenses. You know, like the drugs and the cigarettes. Those
Yeah.
are so expensive. I don't do any of those things anymore. Well, the energy drinks, they're $5 a day, 2 for $5. And the edibles, I try to make most of them.
So when you
I
finally
bet.
got to the end of the drinking, did you figure out, wow, I can't believe how much time I have when you stopped? You can imagine that? You know, when
Mad
you stopped
fucking
drinking?
time in the day for sure, mad energy. But mostly like I was waiting for the world to change.
Right.
I was
So
waiting
you
for
were
the
waiting a long
world to be
time.
able to handle me at my full capacity, and I was kind of drinking to stay in a holding pattern. And then once I almost made it with my buddy's company out in Washington, but he was like couldn't have me because I was such a drunk and made me live in his van and couldn't let me be a part of his company or even stay in his house or whatever. But that was good of him. Like, he was,
Oh, that. So you hit bottom here.
yeah, so I hit bottom.
put you out in the
This is where
van.
I hit bottom because I could have and should have been the VP of his company, and instead he made me live in
You
the
were
van.
drinking.
Because he was like, dude, you're not just drinking, you're drinking yourself to death. Like I don't want the police to come up to clean you up in my house. I love you. You're gonna be like this. You're in the van.
In the
So
van.
he helped you out.
Yeah.
What a friend.
It
That
was the
was the
best thing
bottom.
anybody
Yeah.
ever did.
And,
That was the
there's always one moment
Yeah,
that somebody changes.
That was the most effective thing that anybody ever did for me was to both love me, but also be like,
Yeah, in the van.
you're in the van.
You still in contact with him?
Yeah, that hits
All of my
different.
genetics are bred from his genetics. We talk all the time.
No, not bad.
There's
That's
gotta
a good
be
thing.
There's got to be a moment there when you
Tough
realize
love.
you're at your buddy's house and he's like, "No, you're in the van." You're like,
Motherfucker.
And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm your OG. I'm the man around here. Like, I was everyone's weed person because I bring weed back from Vancouver. I taught you about strains. Like, if you wanted weed, if you wanted to know anything, yeah, like, I had status there. You know, like just like I did on the East Coast.
Yeah, but
In
that
the
was
van.
You know, in the van.
He gave you some tough love as well.
yeah, but
totally.
yeah,
Saved
that
your
was your
life.
perspective.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
guess what?
totally.
He knew a little bit better.
Oh
And-
yeah,
and-
yeah.
and-
He had relatives that drank themselves to death. So he knew that that's what I was doing. I wasn't. I was still far too cocky to actually drink myself to death. But I
Were you
was.
lying
I
to
was in a
yourself?
bad way.
You think? Would you think with the drinking you were lying to yourself and believing it?
I
Well,
wanted to put myself in death-defying situations.
Situations?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
It comes with the bottle, yeah.
Yeah, I went hiking in avalanche territory with my buddies. They set me up with a beacon and the whole nine, but I still brought in the bottle. And
Still drank the bottle.
and they were being dicks to me while we were hiking. They were like cracking jokes, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck where you're bringing me. We've been hiking for too fucking long. It's been like 5 hours of hiking. I'm dropping in here, and they're like, dude, you can't drop in there. You have to hike another hour with us because like you can't, like, it's not safe to drop.
You were in avalanche zone.
And I was like, dude, you guys being assholes. Suck a dick. I'm dropping in here, and I did.
You dropped in?
Yeah.
"You
Yeah.
dropped in."
Yeah.
How was the ride?
Pretty straight, pretty fine, pretty straight. But I did start a multitude of small skids. They call them like
skids?
small avalanches, where
Yeah.
they're happening around you and happening behind you, and I was just very chill and very loose, and like there was a lot of bumps that could have took me out, that could have caused those skids to slowly bury
Really
me.
go into a big.
Yeah, so those skids could have slowly buried me, but I'm a good snowboarder, and I was very cocky and very loose.
You had some
and
luck.
then also like with the mystic part of me means that like I have like a really good
You held the
attachment
snow.
to like all my ancestors
Aura.
and all like
Karma.
all other dope shit that might pay attention to me existentially. So like I have protection, so to speak.
Some
So
dope
like
shit.
yeah. So I made it to the bottom just fine, and I got to the bottom, and I was drinking at the lodge down at the bottom.
Two
And,
fingers
and my
up.
friends came running up to me like, dude, fuck,
They
dude.
wanted to kill you.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I fucking hate you. Oh, you're alive. Like, you know, I was like, shouldn't have been dicks, dude. I'm fine.
You were like the
Like-
man. You were probably
Yeah,
had.
and,
Ego must have been glowing that
How
day.
do you say fuck you without fucking
Yeah.
having to say it?
No, they were just really mad because, like,
You really probably should have died.
yeah, probably because people die at Mount Baker all the fucking
Oh,
time.
every week.
all the goddamn
It wasn't
time.
your time.
Yeah, well, it wasn't my time.
You had a
Exactly,
beacon?
It wasn't my time. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that-
wasn't on though. I didn't know how to
Yeah.
use it right. They were
still
dicks,
gotta-
they were dicks about explaining to how to use it. They're like, you know, like they were just like, let's go, bro.
That
And
little
I'm like,
orange one with the little
not,
hand
not,
strap?
not let's go. This is hard for me. Like, come on.
But were they really being dicks?
Yeah. Everyone about riding out of bounds anywhere out west is a fucking asshole about it. Unless they're Scuba Steve, like Mr. Thorough, Mr. Camp Counselor, and they really just want to help. They don't want to help you. They're just that guy. They're anal, and like they just take everything very serious. But most people on the West Coast are just like, "Come on, you're cool with cliffs, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how big are the cliffs?" Like, don't worry about it. Here's a beacon. Here's a shovel. Let's go. I'm like, we're going out of bounds. Like, yeah. All right. And then you get to the cliff, and the cliff's like 50 feet.
Yeah.
And there's a chute. So you choose either the cliff or the chute, and I always have to choose the chute.
Yeah.
Sometimes I choose the cliff.
You didn't like the air?
Well, no. A lot of times out west, you can drop the cliff and know that you're not going to land it, and it's fine. And you don't.
Yeah,
and,
it's a big powder.
Yeah.
It's a
And
and you
big
don't
powder
land it, and
patch.
it's fine. And you do drop like 50 feet, and you roll down the windows.
Yeah.
And you just poof. But sometimes you create such big holes in the ground that people have to help you out of the holes, and that's problematic.
Especially near the fucking trees.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
And then sometimes the trees can be in the snow.
Yeah, they can kill you.
Yeah, totally. So sometimes it's not a good idea to do that.
Because when I went out west, because I was a good skier here. I was a good skier. When I went out west, I had to learn how to ski in the powder because it's all
In the
ice
wooden
cookies
ones,
here.
he had wooden skis.
I was quite a skier. You wouldn't even believe it. I can ski.
Yeah, Rob.
I can ski as good as I can dirt bike ride.
How do people find you if they want to find you? Your music, your clothes, like you got an IG account, like
On IG,
website.
CONCHISS_fire. And I'm working on that website with the self-hypnosis stuff. And it'll also have a deck of tarot cards that I'm drawing myself that'll be included in the package. You can collect all of them, and then
What kind of
I'll
cards?
teach you how to use them. Tarot cards?
Tarot cards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because unstable people shouldn't have those cards.
Oh, sure. I'm teaching people how to read them. I'm teaching people how to read them on their own.
People don't realize what comes with those cards.
Oh my God, Rob.
All that really comes with those cards is at best making yourself a beacon for like other things to be like, oh, he's interested. I think that all of religion and all mysticism is just your ancestors and just your own intuition and just your own internal programming that exists in your subconscious brain that's so hard to tap into that as you very gradually tap into like 0.5% at a time of your own subconscious brain, it feels like God or the devil is talking to you because it's so divine to be able to do it, that it's easily mistaken as just like normal things. People who used to be put through trial and tribulation and hard circumstance used to tap into dope stuff all the time. And it felt very surreal, and it felt like a burning bush, and it felt very awesome because it was, and it is when it happens, and it's happened to me mad times. And it only happens from almost dying in avalanches and almost dying from drinking and almost dying from all sorts of other shit. You access more, you get better packages. You like so, and I always knew that people who got themselves sober from drugs and alcohol became so much doper. Like you're just obviously enhanced. You're very clearly enhanced. And you are, because when you force yourself to do harsher things and you survive it, like, it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. And weed for me has been a great way to focus me and make me devout. And anyone who's all the way in something and giving it their everything is naturally very attractive and very able to influence you. But hippies and all people who used to hold weed used to be able to do all the same things I do. Every person who had great weed for you back in the day could also see right through you and tell you some dope shit that was like, bro, like, not here right now, but like, thanks, I guess. Like, you're welcome.
No, he's very interesting guest. We got to have this guy on again.
Totally.
I like your weed. Your weed really is good. I'd love to see some of it grown in like the natural dirt, the way some of these other guys do it, and how it would react. Be nice to get one of your clippers if we could buy one.
Only positively, especially if it was like living soil, organic, and The Mills nutrient line that we're going to use next is organic.
You made me a believer in this cocoa. Like, that tastes very good, the Gasachusetts. I love that.
Thank you.
We've tasted a lot of weed over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that shit's fire.
Thank you.
We wish you the best of luck.
If Trevor's saying it, you know it's real.
it is all
because
about the
this fucking guy
strain.
smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
The strain is it's all about the strain, man. You got to find them.
Totally. It's all about repeat sales. It's all about getting somebody to try it first and actually wanting more.
One last thing. When are you estimated to bring some of your own flower from your co-op to the market? Are you
August.
August?
We'll have plants in the building realistically in June, and then we should get our final operational approval when those plants are tested and ready for sale in August.
I know a couple of stores that would love to have that fucking tasting weed in there.
Oh, without a doubt.
Absolutely, bring
Let me
it
know.
back.
So
For sure.
in August, we get another piece of jewelry? Fuck yeah.
You gotta do a lot more for me than you have.
Stay away from
currently.
those Stay away from those tarot cards, and you'll get some more jewelry.
I want one of those fucking rapper chains around your fucking neck next time we
come on!
fucking
The
come
dog
over.
pound chain.
Without a doubt.
This
You got
so
it.
So you love buying, like making money. You love buying the bling. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Are you gonna
know what?
fill up
Yeah,
all
but-
your hands? with
Because
the
that's
bling?
it's
meaning.
weird.
It has meaning.
It's weird. I don't know if I'll ever buy any more though, because I don't know if I'll want to buy it off responsible money.
Right. I understand. It's not
Yeah,
free
fuck
money.
that. You got to buy it.
If I win gambling,
Yeah.
yes,
You don't mind. Blow
but
it.
like money that I make off my co-op and off regular old work,
Yeah.
and everyone knows how much I made. So, because like it's easiest when my wife doesn't know how much money I have, so I can just like spend some and I still have enough to take home where she's happy. But once everyone knows what I have and they know how much I spent on jewelry,
Yeah, you're not gonna
I look
go
like
crazy.
an asshole. And once I get real money, I'm not gonna spend it on that. That would just be like the worst CEO decision ever.
You know what? You keep going where you're going.
What
You
about
keep
another
buying
jacket?
Bling and bling and bling.
Another
Thank
fur
you.
coat.
That's fine. I'm the same
Get a
company that
gangster
made
grill.
this is gonna make me a leather jacket that has my logo on it and stuff.
See,
And
that's the shit.
and then that'll
Awesome.
work though because it's promotional. Like you
Right.
know that's
Yeah, what
smart.
do you guys
And you
got?
can write it off.
Yeah, probably could.
And there you have it. That's
Yeah.
episode 28. Conchiss, the rapper, the grower, the
Thank you.
mystic,
The bling.
the bling man, the fur
bling.
coat. I'm glad we walked up
Kid
to you
Rock
and invited
shit
you
coat.
on.
Totally.
And I love the weed. Shit's fire.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can't wait to see it in the
Yeah.
market.
Let's
Yeah, me
go.
Let's go.
Wake up in the morning, got a bag on my schedule. Niggas talking, bitches talking, they is not on my level. Check the time, wrist, rollie, rose gold on the bezel. Grab my keys and get my cell and hit the door with a shovel. It's time to get it out the mud, 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 out the mud. It's time to get it.